Hey, beautiful mamas, we've got something really special coming up to kickstart your year. Yes, our Burnt Out Mummas in-person events are officially here, and we cannot wait to see you.
Our first 2026 event kicks off with vision boards and sacks on January the 11th from 5:30 till 7 p.m. It's all about setting your intentions for 2026, stepping into your power and enjoying the most beautiful live sax music while you manifest the year you actually want.
Our second event is a sound bowl and cocoa ceremony, which is on the 1st of Feb, 5:30 till 7. This one is for deep rest, nervous system reset, healing, grounding, and giving your mind and body the softness they've been craving.
Both events are being held at Sanstead Methodist Hall, and tickets are available right now. The link is in our bio and all our recent Instagram posts. We cannot wait to hold this amazing space for you. Come fill your cup, reconnect with yourself, and start 2026 with intention and calm.
Grab your spot now.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Friday.
Happy Friday.
We're back again. Thank you, Paige, for coming on and being patient this morning.
Oh,
That's all right. You're welcome.
amazing guest,
Yeah.
Paige, isn't it? And so Paige is a business coach.
Yes. So, Paige, I've known you, what, is it 10 years? Is it maybe?
It's about six. It was just pre-COVID when I had just started, just before COVID.
That's it. Yeah. And we met on socials, didn't we?
We did.
Through Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
Part of a network, and I needed help with some of my properties. So you're an ex estate agent turned into business coach.
Yes.
You follow a lot of the things that we do in our listeners, spirituality, law of attraction, holistic ways. So we really want to get deep and have a little chat today.
Sounds good. Right up my street.
And you're also a mum.
I am.
Business. So
Definitely burnt out from time to time.
I feel like we all are. And the nice thing is, Paige, that Paisley's been telling me all about you, because I don't know you as much as what Paisley does, but she's been telling me like you do a lot of manifesting stuff and you're really into like
do you know
law of
what?
attraction.
Just on that note, when I remember meeting, like finding you, when your name was Paige, I know it's not Paisley, but I always used to get called Paige. And I was like, no, it's Paisley.
Yeah. We spoke about that, didn't we? Because you was like, how weird is it that both our names are like Pai, and that people used to call you Paige all the time.
Yeah, and then obviously we stayed in touch. You've been like, you've had to put up.
I mean, Sunny was like a baby, like in a pram when we first met.
Running up and down that flat, I remember when.
I know.
So here we are.
Lovely.
So do you want to talk about your journey from the beginning? And
yeah, so I was an estate agent for the best part of 10 years. Just over 6 years ago, I started my business, and it was completely by accident. So I was working in typical little estate agent in South London, absolutely loved my job, got on well with my boss, but it was just one of those agencies where they were so old school, which I absolutely love, but they just weren't necessarily moving with the times, and they were turning over staff. And then by default, I went to lettings manager, sales manager, branch manager. And then it kind of got to a point where I was kind of like, well, I can't really go any further. So, you ask for a pay rise, you don't get it. You ask for support, didn't get it. So I said to my boss, look, I'm going to go and look for another job, because I'm at the end of the road here. Got offered this amazing job. Again, another agency, going straight into a manager role, but you got company car, company phone, company laptop, health benefits, and I didn't have none of that, and it was literally at the end of my road, and I was like, this actually couldn't get any better. So I went into the office, told my boss, obviously I said, I've been looking for another job, this is what I've got. He kind of accepted my resignation. And then a week later, he's like, look, I really want to have a chat with you, because he's like, look, I'm looking to retire in probably the next 5 to 10, or if not, starting to take a step back from now. So why don't you buy half the business? So we went through this whole process of me potentially buying half of this business. I would buy the letting side, I'd stick with sales. I would stick with lettings, he would stick with sales. We done contracts. I went and got a business loan, put up literally all of my savings. Me and my partner, I mean, I was 26 at the time, and I felt like I had genuinely been saving the whole of my 20s for us to be able to just, you know, the dream of buying a house, moving out, whatever. But for me, always kind of wanting more and being ambitious and entrepreneurial, I was like, right, this is it. This is going to be my big break. And then we're halfway kind of through the process. We're pretty much ready to sign contracts. I was agreeing to use the business name on like a franchise kind of agreement. So he was still earning a fee from me. There was still a very small commission share, all kind of beneficial to him. And then after 5 months, he then finally said, oh, look, you know, we need to have a chat. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, we're finally getting somewhere. And he said to me, oh, people offer to buy my business all the time. Someone made me an offer a little while ago. I said to this person, the way I would to everyone else, you know, put your money where your mouth is. Just so happens this person did. And I was like, okay, well, why are you telling me this? And he was like, well, because they've lodged the money with the solicitor. I'm about to go and sign the contract. And he sold the whole business to somebody else. So I'd had my company set up, got a business loan. I'd already made payments on that business loan.
Oh my God.
Accountant instructed. And I met the new owner less than 48 hours later.
That's a proper man's world.
Oh
isn't
my
it? Did you get solicitors?
Do you know what? No, I didn't. I know I probably could have, but for me, it dragged on for so long that I wanted the situation to be done with.
Yeah.
But it was probably like, I wasn't even really started in my business yet, and I'd probably already learned like such a big, valuable lesson. I rang my other half on the way home and I was like, look, can we go for dinner tonight? And he was like, what's wrong? I was like, look, I've had a shit day. Let's just go for dinner. So we sat down. He was like, what's going on with you? And I told him what happened. And he was just like, so I told him, told my dad, told my father-in-law, and they're all very old school. They're like, let's go round and see him. And I'm like, no, we can't do that. That's not going to resolve anything. And it was my other half that said to me, he's like, you've got everything. Like, you could do this. You don't need his business. You've got it already. You can go on your own. And that was literally how I did it. So while I was still working there, I was getting the salary, and I thought, you know, getting by doing absolute minimal, used all my annual leave, and just kind of got going while I was still working there. And then when I literally had properties lined up ready to go on the market that I knew would shift, that was when I handed in my notice and left.
Well done,
So
you. Amazing.
Did you get the money out that you put in? Did you invest in his business?
No. So it didn't actually get to that point.
Yeah.
But anyone that, you know, when you're looking at getting business loans, you have to put up your own capital and your own assets, and they want to see that you've got backing behind you already. So it was just kind of, my whole life was just on hold while I was doing this. And I was like mid-20s, still wanted to travel, still spend my money like it was going out of fashion. And at that time I couldn't, because I thought I was buying into a business. So yeah, that's how Elmore's of London was born. That was my little business, my little company. And we got going through COVID. Originally started off as just doing lettings only, moved into sales, moved into new builds. And it was just a whole journey.
And that's do you know what this is the thing of in life, like things are meant to be like. And I kind of did the same in my career, like started to do a few of my own things, and then the people I was working for, they were like, oh, you're not allowed to do one of your own classes because you work for us. And I was like, like you're a free spirit, aren't you?
Yeah, literally.
So when they found out I was doing my own class, bear in mind it was way out of the area. I wasn't treading on their toes whatsoever. And they were like, oh, we've got to let you go. And I was like, I just moved into my flat and I had a mortgage to pay. And I was just like, oh my God. Luckily, I had a friend, like a family friend, was like, oh, you could do some PA work for me. Probably Paisley always laughs at this because I'm literally probably the worst PA. I couldn't arrange my own life, but arranging
She's so creative, and
so
you're running
creative.
such a successful business that I can't imagine you
organising like an inbox of emails. And she was like, oh, you can organise all the emails and inbox. And then she was like, where have you put them all? And I was like, oh, I've just put them in one category and another. Crazy still laughs about it now. She's like, how the hell was you a PA? Because she is really good at PA work. Like,
She's so organised.
She's like
Oh,
my
don't know.
PA. She's
I'm only
great.
just getting it
even
back
with
now
the business.
with the kids at school, but I was all over the place when I was in like the baby stage. I couldn't even organise getting out of the house, let alone.
Oh, don't. And I feel like I'm literally going through that right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can do one, like obviously with newborn, but I can do one email a day, and that is that.
Yeah.
That for me,
Literally in the newborn trenches.
yeah,
It's the one thing a day. If you can do
one
that,
thing a day.
This is it.
I did 2 emails yesterday, and I was like, yes, I did it. Like, and I had him in the sling, standing up, like
Multitasking at its finest.
I remember another thing as well. Didn't you used to be a dancer, Paige?
I was a dancer, yes. I was, yeah.
no way.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, dance from when I was 3. Literally done the lot, ballet, tap, whatever. And then when I was in school, I fully went full street hip hop. He went to internationals, went to worlds.
I know.
Got my teaching qualification at 17, taught for a little while.
Why aren't you happy with us?
Why are we not?
Do you know what? Because again, that it was something else that for me at the time, I'd danced my whole life, and then I'd got up to 20, and I'd had jobs, but I had a little part-time sales role, a little part-time accounts assistant role. Worked on a weekend in a hairdresser's, done my teaching like on a Saturday, Sunday evenings, and I was kind of at that time I was so done with the being everywhere and missing out on weekends in my 20s and whatever, and I was like, I want a big girl job. And that was when I was hired as an admin assistant or a lettings admin's girl at the estate agents that I then went on to was nearly going to buy. So yeah, it was one of those things, I think, because I had done it my whole life. It'd come from my hobby, which then turned into teaching again, which for a period of time I loved, but it got to a point, I think, where I'd kind of fell out of love with it a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I look back and I'm like, oh, did I make a mistake leaving? I still watch videos to this day. There are still dancers that I've followed since I was younger, and kind of looking at their success and how they've all got different business models, whether that's gone into casting agencies, stage schools, and I don't think that was, personally for me, it weren't the path that I was meant to be on. As much as I watch it and still get that fire in my belly, it just knew it weren't my path. As much as I loved it, it weren't my path at the time.
Funny, isn't
So
it?
I've got goosebumps.
And also, do you know what? It doesn't matter what kind of performing you do in life; it'll always stay with you forever. Like
100%, yes.
Like even I watch shows and I will literally close my eyes and be like, oh, I just like love it. Like I get such an adrenaline, and that is one thing I really miss. Like, is that adrenaline feeling of performing on stage?
Yeah.
Like in competitions. Well, you might have to
give some speeches soon, because that's the bit I absolutely hate.
Yeah, see, I don't mind like anything performing wise, but I do think like all of that gives you up for whatever you do in life. Like even estate agency, you have to be able to talk to people and have.
This is it, 100%. Yeah.
Having that behind you, like that dance and performing, really does help. So
yeah, 100%.
Think it's because it's quite a lot to talk to people to persuade them to buy something, isn't it? And honestly, I've a good estate agent, like it means everything, because you're going to sell the property, aren't you?
Well, this is it. They're handling like the sale or the purchase of what's going to be like your single biggest asset. And this is why personal estate agency and self-employed agents or small business owners, I think, tend to thrive, because they're handling it with a level of care. And you look at mine and Paisley's relationship, that literally came from needing her property rented, to then needing her property sold, to then going on to managing another one of her. If you can find someone that you've got that good bond with, you've got a client for life. And it's not, and of course, yeah, you've got the financial win aspect of it, which is great. But, you know, you've got the amount of recommendations from Paisley I've had alone is, you know, it speaks volumes, because you get one good relationship and that's just going to develop your business. But then that's like all business at the end of the day. If you've got a service-based business, something that you can sell, something you're good at, and someone's happy with what you're doing, you're going to have an endless list of clients, because that would just snowball. And I think this is why confidence is a massive thing, not just like with performing, not just being an estate agent, but in everyday life, because if you're not talking to people, you're not getting the word out.
Yeah.
You know, and literally it's kind of like it's also kind of not necessarily tugging on people's heartstrings, but it's kind of finding that mutual ground with everybody that you talk to. You know, when it comes to, like you saying, like you need a good estate agent, and you just want somebody that you know that you can call is going to get the job done, that is going to handle your transaction with the utmost respect, make sure that they're putting the time in. Whereas if you go now to a lot of these just typical high street agents, you know, you're just a number in their system, you're just one of their targets, you're just one of their KPIs. And you know, this is why a lot of people are finding that if they're going to, let's say, a typical high street estate agency, their property is going on the market, and you know, they're saying, well, let's see how it goes, let's not price reduce, or you know, I tell you what, I think I could get you £10,000 more than what you initially thought. And then 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, even 3-4 months down the line, your property is still sitting on the market and you're not actually getting the results that you want. Because essentially all that they really care about is making sure that their big boss knows that they're meeting the targets. They've got a certain amount of listings on the market, they're booking a certain amount of viewings. So as long as they're doing that, they look busy. Whereas it goes so much more beyond that.
Yeah,
and I think that's
100%.
why I liked working with you, because actually a lot of my contacts I've made in business and my network now, sorry guys, but is women, because I
Yeah.
can ask you a question and you'll answer it, whereas I think I don't want to generalize things.
Do you remember the other mortgage advisor you had, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm just
I'm on
playing
the golf
golf.
course.
I'm on the golf course," and
Need
then
a
I
fucking
used the same
mortgage. I'm
one,
like,
and I was like,
I was like, I can't relate. I can't really talk to him. I want to talk, and then they're like, the computer.
Yeah.
No, you haven't got those figures. I was like, I just want to talk to, you know, women love talking. I want to just
Yeah.
find out the ins and outs, and also the admin, the communication, everything. So
our
that's
brains
why
are very different.
we do a lot of
aren't
admin and
They're
PR.
wired so different.
they?
Yeah, they like do the deal and then that's it, forgotten about, and they have like a team of people that finish the deal off. But I think we're more detailed, and even my mortgage advisor, she's a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's women at work.
yeah,
Women at work. Yeah, literally. This is it. And I think it's so, like, what I love is that when you are a woman-based business and you're speaking to other women, you can just relate so much more on a deeper level compared to talking to a guy that's kind of done it. Because I think men are very much it's a get in, get out. Don't get me wrong, there are men out there that can get shit done. Equally so can women. But I think what speaks for women more is the support you've got around you. You know, without girls supporting girls, what would we be?
Exactly.
and that was the group we were part of, wasn't it? It was all little businesses
Exactly, yeah.
supporting each other on Instagram. Is that still going? Isn't it?
I don't think so. I mean, I left because it got so big that I was like, oh, I can't deal with all the notifications. It was so overwhelming. And like, you know, for me, I didn't necessarily have an Instagram based business. I was just posting a few property pictures here and there, you know, but these girls literally lived and breathed, thrive, you know, their businesses were social media businesses. So I couldn't necessarily, oh sorry, you've come away from the screen. I couldn't necessarily put in the same amount of time that they were putting on the support, so it just weren't fair. So I think that's why I stepped away from the group.
Same, because I wasn't doing what I was doing at the time. But social media, that's another thing, is such a massive part. Like our business, we've either thought, do we spend the time doing it or do we get some help? Because I think every business now needs social media, and that's
100%, 100%.
it's a job,
isn't it? And yeah, and then to invest in it is another
like
It's a whole expense.
podcast you can
Yeah.
just turn on and we've invested in this podcast. Like the editing takes a lot of time, so
Of course it does, yeah.
it's not cheap. You know, when they say, oh, you can just get an account, set it up, put it out there.
And we did think that at the
We
beginning.
did think that, yeah. And we were
But
like,
then we was
oh,
like,
there's another cost.
what we
There's
did,
another
we was
membership.
like, took me and Paisley like 4 hours to do our like first one and edit it. And we was like, we just do not
This
have
is
the
not
time
viable.
to do this. Like, especially with kids, we want to be like, and I do think that in business, it's like pay someone to do like what you're not trained to do.
100%, 100%.
Number one, you're going to get better, you know, a better service out of
Yeah.
it.
More professional.
Number two, they're faster.
Yeah.
Number 3, time is money. So that 4
Without a
hours
question of a doubt.
is money.
That probably
But
leads on to
your business coaching.
your coaching.
Can you talk to us about like what you do as your coaching and any advice that you could give women out there that maybe
Yeah, of
starting
course.
a business or
Absolutely. So the reason I got into coaching was because I actually remember talking to you about this, Paisley, when I was actually selling your flat, and you was telling me about having your coaches. I think it was like when we not long went into lockdown, and you'd found an amazing one after having a really bad experience. Do you remember the guy that took everyone's money and ran away?
Yeah, it took mine as well. I had to
Um,
tell Errol, and I was like, I think I've been scammed.
And do you know what? Like, you spoke about the importance of having a coach, and then I then looked into a mentor. So then, when I was kind of through COVID, kind of stuck indoors, was scrolling through, and everybody that I was kind of talking to, I was like, okay, so what's your business then? Like, what experience have you got, and have you got? And I was like, oh no, like, I haven't necessarily got one. So for me, it was like, you need to practice what you preach a little bit. You know, how am I meant to get coaching and understanding about running a business by somebody that hasn't necessarily done that? So I put it on hold for ages. And then when 2 years ago, or just over 2 years ago, maybe about 18 months ago, I actually took the jump to join a brokerage to develop my business from the estate agency side of things from that, because running an estate agency as a whole just become wild with being a mum. I couldn't do everything, and there was so much back office support, which is where, like, you know, all your time comes into the ringing people, the booking the viewings, booking the valuation, the lead generation. It was just a no-brainer for me to do that, and a lot of mentorship come off the back of that. And I was like, do you know what, I need someone to basically mentor me. So I eventually went and got my own mentor, was with them for a couple of months, and it honestly changed my outlook on business and life so much, because not only had they been and done it, they had also had businesses that hadn't necessarily took off, or they had flopped, and the real raw honesty that comes with it is what you need as a business owner. So you can look for the red flags to look out for. You can kind of, if you understand that a bump in the road is coming, you know, we're not all psychic, we can't always see it, but you could just handle it that little bit better, rather than, you know, for example, you're going 2 months without no income, but you've got your overheads, and then you're worrying about where the next lead is coming from. What house am I going to rent next? What eyebrow booking am I going to do next? How many more dance classes am I going to book? If you feel like you're financially drowning and you don't know how to cope with that, you need someone that has actually lived it and breathed it, because you're never going to know how to navigate that situation. Sometimes it is best to be thrown in at the deep end, don't get me wrong, but having the support network is something that I think is, if you can invest in having that support, if you haven't got it, 100% do it.
You go to school, you do your A levels. I remember when I came out of my A levels, I did a degree. I never wanted to do it anyway. I always wanted my own business, but I don't know, I didn't believe in myself. I don't think other people believed, and I didn't have the money. So
Yeah,
I got my student loan, and I was like, bought a Gucci bag in Selfridges fashion college. So everyone had they were absolutely balling. Their families were so minted, and there was little old me that was still staying at home, you know. And then the next part of it,
I think
was
I then used that Gucci bag for
you
school.
nicked it.
I used to nick it and put all my school books in it,
It's
and
still
then I
going
used to come
strong.
in.
I used the deposit to buy a property with. And I was like, I always in the back of my head was like, when I have children, I want to be around for those children. And the only
that
way
was my thought. Yeah,
I see about doing it is through property. And do you know what? When people say, did you make sacrifices? I did. I was living off soup. I wasn't eating out every day, and I was saving every penny. So out of my salary, I'd probably only spend like 400 of it, because we were renting at the time, and the rest, you know, I was really, really like astute with it. And before you know it, you've saved up enough money, because I was like,
yeah,
if I get my first house, I've got financial freedom.
yeah,
And I was so determined to get it because of different reasons. Always been a free spirit as well, and I couldn't see myself sitting at one desk for the next 60 years.
yeah,
And I was like, I've always loved property. It's like doll's houses for me. So
yeah.
I learned everything I could, like you, but there was no training. I think
No,
I learned through ex-boyfriends or different. I just taught myself, and I thought, God, all that stuff I've learned at uni, and school,
you're not applying it to everyday life.
And I realised when I went out and I worked for Alders, I was on 12 grand a year. And I got depression as well. I never knew what depression was, but you're geared up when you come out of school to be like this high flyer, especially our school. It was really competitive. And, you know, you're going to be a lawyer, doctor, solicitor. And I didn't want to do any of that.
No.
And then I saw some of my friends that had their own businesses were earning really good money. And I was like, they've got a different route to me. Yet I'm under so much pressure doing exams and stuff, and yet I'm earning less. And in my head, I was like, this doesn't make sense. So I did eventually quit my job at Alders because I wanted to be a buyer, fashion buyer. And I was like, this money's crap. I don't want to live off this crap money.
Yeah.
Traveling. And it was when I went traveling, spiritually, I opened up to a lot of things, and a lot of people were starting their own businesses, like bringing supplies over from Bali, producing jewelry. We met a girl, I think she does Clobo jewelry now. She's massive. She said, I didn't meet her traveling, but she said when she went traveling, she got her idea. My friend from uni started a uniform business, which is massive.
Wow.
She supplies all the top hotels in the world. But I was
Amazing.
I always wanted to open a spa, like a specialist, like mummy spa.
Yeah.
But again, had the funds, or I just was so worried about doing it. But then I used everything I did learn about marketing, which was a main thing. I love marketing, and applied it to the property. But I thought there's nothing out there that teaches you once you've left school. It's so important to have a coach or a mentor, and we have
This is it.
in the offices. All the managing directors had coaches.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is it. When it got to the beginning of the year, and I thought, right, okay, I can either really go full. Now I knew my little one come this year would pretty much be close to full-time, nursery. I was like, I can either use that time to go full steam ahead with the estate agency, which I'd fallen out of love with a little bit, or I can use my skills to help other people. Just going back to like the teaching aspect, I absolutely love teaching, like seeing my students like go into competitions, or just seeing students that would absolutely never ever want to perform, to them seeing them get on stage. Like it's a next level, I think, satisfaction. And for me, it was kind of like, we're living in an age now where starting your own business has essentially never been more accessible if you really want to. With the use of technology, AI, I know it's controversial, but there is so many things now that you can do and utilize your skills and your knowledge to help other people. And I was looking a bit like you, Paige, sort of seeing all these people making money online just from simply selling a course and then buying this course and reselling it. And to me, that felt very pyramid schemey. And I was like, if these people are genuinely having 6-figure weeks, making $1 million in a year, yeah, that's not impossible for me to do. So I literally sat there and done so much research on how to basically build just a digital online business, because there might be a time when the property market crashes and I wanted to be prepared. Or it could be a case of, my clients are selling up, my clients, people sadly die, like I would lose my management portfolio, or the family would take it on and potentially go to another agent. For me, it was about having that backup plan. So it wasn't necessarily me wanting to go full steam ahead in coaching. I was looking at creating courses, and then off the back of creating a course, I was like, no, actually, I need to test this out. So I spoke to a friend she was like, I am done with this corporate life. She had done a little bit of traveling. She had spent some time in the States, and she's like, I'm so done with this country and just living, getting up at 8, being in the office for 8 o'clock every day, leaving at 6 o'clock, only having the weekend to myself. And we looked back at like all of the knowledge that she had learned, similar to you, Paisley. She actually went to fashion college. She was very much into her wellness, into her fitness. She had also been to drama school, so there was so much there that she could kind of essentially use to build a business. So when I was building my courses, so I've got a course called Zero to Launch, which basically piggybacks off of what I used to build my coaching business, which was one simple AI prompt. And this might seem really far-fetched, but this AI prompt, it then asks you, I think it's 7 to 10 really deep questions, and you have to be 100% honest with these questions for it to be able to use that algorithm to build it around your areas of expertise and your areas of knowledge, and then how you can capitalize and monetize off of that. So that's exactly what I did. So I was like, for this to work, if I'm going to do this, I need to test it out. So we went through, we done this whole process on my full Zero to Launch course. And she had went traveling, kind of went back to America, used this course, kind of built her business, was reaching out to LinkedIn, so she kind of had some clientele and some meetings for when she sent back. And in 2 weeks, using kind of what she knew in her from her corporate world, she used that to go self-employed, to have some income. And in 2 weeks, she got offered 2 5-figure self-employed contracts just from being a consultant, using what she knew off of the back of my course. And that's when I was like, no, actually, okay, if this can work, then this is what I've got to go with. So I thought, right, okay, at the moment, I've got my estate agency bringing me in a passive income. That's paying the company bills. It's giving me an okay salary for me to live off. I can just leave that for now rather than pushing on my leads. I was looking at selling the business, and I was just like, if I just have that there, just as my little income, paying my overheads, I can then put some focus into this, because I'm a big believer as well in multiple streams of income. You know, if you want to be financially abundant, if you want financial freedom, it's so important to not rely on one income stream.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially,
I can't rely on that no more. That's why we're doing these, aren't we?
Well,
And
the government are
your dance school nearly
messing it
closed
up.
down in
Yeah,
COVID.
dance. Well, it did. It shut down in COVID. So, and yeah, that's when I was really stuck. I had to. Well, I remodeled the whole business during COVID, but I was selling Body Shop and FM perfume.
yeah, so many people did things
I
like that. Yeah,
didn't know what to do because I felt so.
We did that online course with those coaches.
Yeah, we did an online course
because
with
we were going to
coaches
do
and stuff, which was the
coaching.
scam that we got scammed on. But
I
but
think
yeah,
they were coaches though.
they
weren't
were
they?
coaches, but they were
Structure.
very expensive coaches.
yeah,
Paid a lot for talking. Put it that way.
yeah,
No. And when you look, like they got us at a really vulnerable stage because
Everyone was desperate, weren't they?
I was pregnant. I was like, oh my God, I've lost my business. And my whole reason why I set up my business was to be like have that financial freedom for
exactly. Yeah.
that I can bring up the baby and it's gonna. So I completely am with you. Like, it's good to have a few.
That's why I think it's so important for women to create businesses, because you have that financial freedom when you have children. You're unhappy in a marriage, you can make decisions, but you have to create a business around you and your life. And I think that's why starting your own business is so important.
So good.
Which is why I wanted you on here.
Yeah, and this is it. So off of the back of that, I was like, right, okay, if this is gonna work, like I could. So when I tell you, I sat for hours. My fiance was like, "What are you even doing?" Like, I know you're not that busy with. And I was like, "No, like trust me, like I'm building." Oh, I've dropped you again. And I was like, no, honestly, I was like, I'm telling you, like I can build something that I know. I said can definitely take off. I want to help people. Like I want to be able to teach people that they can get that freedom in their life as well. And sometimes it's not just about the financial aspect, it's about getting that time back, being a present parent, even if it is just the simple things like doing the school run. If you're let's say you're working in the city, you need to be on the train at 7:30, 8 o'clock. So what are you doing? You're dropping the kids to breakfast club, then after school club. And I absolutely don't judge anyone for doing that, because that is the reality for a lot of people. And if that's your route and it works, and you know you're grinding hard and you've got a lovely salary and a lovely home and your kids are happy, then fair enough. But for me, it was just never the route I wanted to take. Even when I spoke about even starting the estate agency, literally the conversation me and my other half had that night was, I said, like, you know, I said where I was buying into a company, I kind of already knew the structure, like what's going to happen later on in life. And he even said, but surely if you're your own business and you've got your own business and we've got children, we're going to be that little bit more flexible. We're not going to have to rely so much on what's going to happen when you're worried about going back to work after maternity leave. And it was then that I was like, okay, do you know, that's actually a really good point. Having a business, when it does come to have, don't get me wrong, I was so delusional when I was pregnant with Arlo. I thought, do you know what? Yep, I'll have him. I can catch up on admin. He'll be asleep in the Moses basket.
This with my second, and I was like, I totally forgot.
No.
This is not to kid any mums, but after 5 years of having a baby, I totally forgot what it was like. That you can only do one email.
I
said to Paisley, yeah, we'll do the podcast on the second week. We'll get back into it.
Yeah.
I was on death's door for like I've only just become alive in the last 2 days.
Yeah. And this is it. And I was so delusional about it. And I was like, don't get me wrong, after sort of 5 weeks, I was going out and I was meeting surveyors, dropping off keys for tenants moving in. I was meeting inventory clerks, going for photography appointments with like the baby in the buggy. That I absolutely loved. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was really hit like with this wave of, yeah, let's say it was postnatal depression, and I really think that you sometimes you don't even recognize it or realize you're in it until you're coming out of it, because it's the brain fog, it's the exhaustion, the sleep deprivation. I don't do things by halves. When the baby was 3 months old, we had literally moved into a refurb that wasn't fully done.
God, Paige, wow.
I know. So, and like it was like we within the space of 3 weeks we had a baby, moved house, had ordered a new car, and like there was just so much so quickly that I did see a bit of a struggle in the business, which was another thing, was that if we end up our family is still growing, if at one point we are blessed enough with another baby, I'm not just solely relying on that income no more. And there is, like, I was just talking to people about who had these goals that wanted, that want their own business but don't necessarily know where to start, or they do have a business and they've literally got it kind of running, but it's just bobbing along. And there is so much support now that you could get that's out there in terms of technology and the power of social media as well, which you can use as a free tool, that there's not necessarily, unless you know where to look, you're not going to find it. So this is where I thought, this is where I can really, don't get me wrong, I know I haven't built a business of like 2 million followers, but I have built a business. I've built a social media presence. I'd already kind of built a community. And I knew that I could use that to my advantage. At the moment, I've got a client of a lady she's a full-time mum. She's got three teenage children. She started an interior design business, absolutely loved it, but then she got consumed again by her job. And she's like, but I absolutely love the interior design and staging. So we have completely remodeled her business. She's going to networking events. She's going out and talking to people. She's walking into estate agent branches, having conversations with estate agents, which she never really did before. She's building lead databases. She's getting recommendations. And that's just in the space of a 12-week mentorship. Like, so she's come on board being completely lost, not knowing where to go, kind of knew what her goals were, but didn't necessarily know how she was going to arrive there. So obviously that's where the support of a mentor comes in. I will always be so vocal with saying, if you run a business, you do need a really good support network, whether that's your friends, your family, your partner. You absolutely need that. Not everybody gets it, which is why sometimes if you can afford the support or you want to commit to that extra support, like a coach or a mentor, 100% do it, because it will be worth its weight in gold.
Like, run your ideas past someone, because like we said, we're developing something in the world. No one's done it that we know, but they did say to us as well, it's not about followers. Like our social followers are lower than our listeners on our podcast.
Yeah.
But we have, I think, very loyal followers that listening every week, and they hopefully.
And it's not about quantity. It's like that saying,
quality.
Yeah, so
because if you had them all in a room buying off you, that's quite a lot of people. It doesn't millions, and even with celebrities that have 1 million followers, their engagement rate can be very low.
So low. And this is, I had to change my perspective on that, because back earlier on in the year, I was very much like, do you know what, my social media following, it's so little. I'm seeing estate agents really grow their platforms and they're getting leads. I've seen estate agents that are coming off of Rightmove and they are selling solely through social media because of their following. And I really do think that's the direction of where, the world is going. However, I was like, how does this happen? Sometimes you can be lucky enough, literally just having that one viral video. But when you flip your mindset a little bit, and it was just, if you get 10 likes on a post, even 5 likes on a post, imagine 5 people coming up to you and saying, well done, I like that. and how different that would be. That is the social media equivalent of 5 people liking your post, is 5 people coming up to you and telling you well done, or oh, I really like what you're doing. And that is such a massive difference, because if you can, I mean, for example, my clients through coaching now, they are solely coming through social media, even down to like my digital resources that I sell. So I've got something called the Growth System Playbook, which is basically like a mini course which will give you different kind of prompts that you can use in terms of lead generation if you're looking to use AI, or just some mindset tips. You know, selling things like that, the minute you've got one person that's going to buy it, you know another person will buy it, because if you like something that can sell once, you know, if you've got something you can sell once, it will sell again, whether that's a product or service, and then you just build off of that. And this is why, like, social media as a tool, if you have got a business, if you're not using it, you're missing a trick, because like you said, Paisley, it doesn't matter about quality, it's about quantity, it's about quality. You only need a couple of people for something really to take off, if you've got the right support and the right product or service.
Yeah, definitely.
And I do think, like, there's 2 ways with social media, because I went through this right at the beginning, like what you said, like you think, oh my God, I haven't got enough followers, I'm going to chase the following.
Yeah.
The thing is, the minute you do that, you come away from your alignment of what you're offering.
This is it, yeah.
In the following and trying to keep up with the viral stuff. And even we did it with like Burnt Out Mummas. We were like, right, we're going to have to do the viral stuff. And I was like, do you know what? Let's just stay true to ourselves. Let's carry on what we're doing. And then off the back of it, like, yeah, we have gained listeners and we haven't had to put all these viral videos up that everybody else is doing.
We have to do bits, but I
and we're burnt out. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Let's just add that other viral one every day to our list of endless things.
Well, do you know what? This is the thing. Like, I keep seeing that, like the viral memes of people, like, if I decided to dance on the internet in 2020, I wouldn't be struggling now. And it's like, it's so true. Imagine if you finally done that TikTok dance that everyone was doing. You might all have 1 million followers, but it doesn't work for everybody. And I think as well, with social media, there is a downside to it, and it is very much you need to find the real from the fake. Yeah. Like when I was doing my research into the digital marketing and into like these courses that people were doing and reselling, there is so much darkness behind it, because they're all kind of piggybacking off of one another and they're using each other's figures. So when you're seeing that someone might have made 60,000 one month, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is 100% theirs, because you don't know how much commission they're paying to like the people that they're initially selling from. And that you know, it's great if people are earning that, because there are some truth to it, because there are coaches and other mentors on here that I've connected with, so there is some genuine, but people need to remember that on social media you're only shown the highlights, you're not shown the struggles.
Who was it who was saying with that TikTok, they had like 500,000 followers and TikTok only pays like £100 a month for all these viral videos, and that must be literally a full-time job. So if you try to put that time into what they're getting paid, for us they were like, why are you doing a podcast? And we're like, it's not to get paid by TikTok or anything like that. You know, we've got our end goal of where we want to be and what we want to do, because I don't think you can solely rely on those platforms to pay you anymore.
No, you can't.
Our main aim is building a community of women who are all
this is it.
The same thing.
And advice that's like, it's affordable, accessible. This is another, obviously you're very into the law of attraction.
Yes.
Which is the same with us. And that's what got me out of my hole I had depression in my 20s. When I went traveling and went to all the spas and everything in Thailand, I saw a different side to life. And The Secret changed my life, and it's still my
The Secret changed my life. I read it when I was in my late teens. So it was a book that someone had gave to me, and I was like, I didn't understand it. I wasn't in tune with it. And then I had not long moved in with my partner when we said, right, let's move in together. We moved into my in-laws. We said we was going to save, and then sorting out my stuff, I'd found that book again. And I was like, let me read it now. Let me see if I understand it, because like it'd been like another 3 or 4 years. And honestly, when you actually think about just how much your thought process can change things. Just as an example, you wake up of a morning, you wake up late, which then means you're set back, you're running behind. you're like, oh my God, I need to get out the house. I'm not going to make the train, or there's going to be more traffic. I'm going to get stuck in the school run. Then watch how your day changes. You're dropping things. You can't find your phone. You need to leave the house. You can't find your keys. Negative thoughts and frequencies are so powerful.
I need to reread it.
Oh my God. She's like, I can't find my keys. Oh, I don't know where I've put this book. Have you got it? And I'm like,
I think that is the ADHD in me. I'm always losing stuff.
she's like, I can't find my phone anywhere. Sadie's not putting her shoes on. We woke up late. And I'm like, all right.
Calm down. But this is the thing, isn't it? When you then kind of just sort of take a minute and take a breather and be like, do you know what? No, I know people might think this is really far-fetched, but you're like, no, do you know what? This was meant to happen this morning. I was meant to wake up late. If I'm going to be late, it is what it is. I can't change the outcome of the situation. And then just watch how things will then kind of fall into place. Rather than being an hour late, you might be half an hour late. And it is very much, it is just something so simple as just kind of trying to reframe your mind.
Yeah, a little bit as well about not being the victim, isn't it? It's looking at it from another perspective.
Exactly.
I mean, I am very good at manifesting. I can manifest money. So I can give a chat on that, but I need to go back to
No, but it's so easily done when you have kids and like
so easy.
Mindset. It is. I remember doing The Secret as well, and it did honestly, it changed everything for me. And I remember like dropping something in the morning and being like, oh, it's fine, it's just dropped, like it's just dropped, I'm going to carry on with my day. And I remember like feeling, and I had such a good day, I was like, it's a drop of that. But now I do feel when you have kids, it is like, put your shoes on, put your shoes on, put your shoes on.
Yeah, it's the overstimulation that comes with it. Trying to then get grounded after that. You're like, oh, I just need 5 minutes to myself.
But actually, what I do just to ground myself is just to get out in nature.
Yeah, walk's the best.
This is it.
When the baby's been screaming from the start of the week this week, I've made myself go out for a walk every day with him and the baby.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it grounds me, and I feel a lot more chilled after.
I did 3 hours, didn't I, on Sunday?
Yeah, 3 hours of walking, didn't you? Yeah.
You needed every day. But also,
it does help.
You're very into like your holistics, aren't you? And natural health care, foods that you put into your body, your wellness side, which is becoming really big, and it's something I'm really interested in improving as well. I want to do it, but again, it's finding the time to really implement it, and it costs a lot of money as well. But what we're putting into our mouths, everything. I know you're quite pure, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I say quite pure. I mean, you know, I will very much look at every ingredient of every bit of food or product that I buy, but I'll still lather my body in my favourite perfume because it's very much all about balance. Paisley, honestly, I wouldn't necessarily say you could start the journey, but I was kind of already very much looking into finding out when you're pregnant and all the stuff that you're offered to take, whether that's medications, certain medications that you can't take. When you actually look into the reasons why, and then you look into what's acceptable, and then you look into the deep research behind it, there is probably it absolutely blew my mind. So it just made me very cautious when having the baby. And then I was very much in two minds when it come to my little one having his vaccinations, and it wasn't a decision that I made lightly. And the only reason when he was a baby he did have his newborn vaccinations is because my partner works in drainage, and it's just, I'm a germaphobe. And I was very much, and even he was the same. He's like, I'd never forgive myself if I'd been working. You know, he can strip off at the door, and he also wears protective clothing, but he has to be very cautious and take certain precautions. So there's certain diseases, infections that he doesn't get. So I was like, if there wasn't this risk, I think I would have left little one not having his vaccinations. I also didn't want them to have him to have them very much when he was like 6 weeks old. I was like, he was having, I think, there was a 3-in-1 and a 6-in-1 or a 4-in-1, and plus the rotavirus. And I was like, he's been well protected, he's been around family, but I'm not taking him around germ infested people. And I was very much I need to know what's going in my baby's body before I allow it. So I did some research, and at the time, because of, like I said, about my partner and his job, the pros and the pros outweighed the cons then for us. So I went ahead and did it. But then the whole decision come down to Cowpole. And I remember speaking to you, Paisley. I was like, oh, just taking little one for his second lot of jabs. And you said, I'll make sure that you're prepared, like with Cowpulse. Although I've stopped giving it to my lot because I'm sure there's something in it. When I give it to Sonny, he goes absolutely mental. She was like, I'm sure there's like E numbers or sugar in it, even though it says it's sugar free. And I was like, she's got a really good point. She's not the first person to say that to me. I need to look into it. And then when I did go down the rabbit hole of looking at the E numbers and the fact that one of the key main ingredients was glucose, and it's kind of like a baby's digestive system doesn't need additional artificial glucose and E numbers. And this is going to be very controversial, so I'm very much
We love
welcoming welcoming the backlash off of this. But you know, we now don't do Calpol in our house. We do paracetamol, but we have found a much cleaner product which is made with fruit extracts, no artificial sweeteners, no E numbers. It's a cleaner product, and we only take it if we absolutely need to.
To me.
Please, yeah, I would love to know as well. Because it's, yeah, let us know what it is.
Because for me, it was just very much. I've got PCOS, and I had very much struggled hormonally. So after having the baby and kind of realizing what was in, because I had to have an induction. If I knew then what I know now, I never would have had an induction. My birth resulted into an emergency C-section, and for me, I very much think it could have been prevented if there was earlier intervention. I wanted nothing more than a natural birth. My baby got here safe and healthy, and that was just my priority at the time. And I think that if I knew what I knew then, so much of that could have been prevented. When it comes to doctors and stuff, I'm very much a stickler because on one hand, the NHS absolutely failed my mum, but on the other hand, they saved my niece's and my sister-in-law's life. So I'm very conflicted. But for me, it's, if you need to go to the doctor, see a doctor. If you want to heal yourself, meds and big pharma aren't going to do that for you. You can only do that through through lifestyle change and through what you're putting in your body. You take one pill, that's going to give you a side effect for another pill, and that's not controversial. That's absolute fact. The amount of people that are now on statins, on beta blockers, that are on antidepressants, ADHD medication. Some people absolutely need it, and you know what? If you need it and it works for you,
Yeah.
then amazing. I mean, even for me, I do believe that antibiotics, there are times and places when you need it, but the minute you become reliant, you are then trapped in a cycle that is so hard to get out of, because you're only ever masking the root of the cause. You're never getting to the problem and fully healing yourself.
And this is the thing, when I got depression, they were like, go on depression tablets. And I was like, well, what's causing it? And they were like, it's just it's just you're depressed. No, it can't. In my head, I couldn't understand it. I was like, and then when I went, that's how I found out about the CBT. And this is why I wanted to do this podcast as well, because in my 20s, I had a lot of that therapy that taught me there's alternative way. And it taught me how my brain worked. And I understood, like, and again, like, they were like, what we were fed really well. We were given like stuff to eat. And it taught me actually the basics of how our body works. Meditation, never heard of that before. And then it wasn't until like it's probably a good 10 years ago that I was like, actually, it's okay to talk about people being depressed, but I love to be able to, sometimes it is medical, and I think they have to be on tablets depending on their hormone levels, but a lot of it is deep trauma that they've never processed and held on to. It's like a sponge, and then when that sponge is full up, it breaks.
This is it, and that's what people don't understand about your nervous system. If your nervous system is so overrun, whether that's trauma, stress, most people now live with chronic stress, and it is not normal. And you look at the amount of people that are actually medicated for it. It's, if you look at healing yourself through getting out in the sun, walking in nature, doing a little bit of grounding, doing a little bit of meditation, sitting in a sauna, getting some red light therapy, you're then rebalancing your nervous system, and just look at how different like your health can be.
Because healing as well, like when you a lot of your, like, you probably believe in this as well, like a lot of your thoughts and feelings, if you don't process them, they get stored in your body and you can get like
Exactly.
different forms. So that's another rabbit hole we can go down.
100%.
It's so good. We've like managed to talk about so many
I
different
could talk forever, but obviously we're coming to a close and our batteries go low. But I just think, you know, your whole life you can create yourself, like you said.
100%.
You do business courses. What are your handles, Paige, for people to come and find you?
Right, so I've changed them so many times. So my Instagram is Paige the Business Mentor, I believe. And then on Instagram I'm Paige the Business Coach, and that's where you'll find Instagram and TikTok. So Paige the Business Coach or Paige the Business Mentor, that's where you'll find me.
And we'll probably give out a little discount code and put it all in our content.
Yes, definitely. So if there are any listeners and you think that we could work together, you think that what I'm talking about resonates with you, drop me a DM, and anyone that does apply that comes off the back of Burnt Out Mummas, quote Burnt Out Mummas, and you'll get 10% off any digital resources, courses or mentorships.
I can't wait. I actually want you as my mentor.
Yeah.
I literally love you. I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
You're so in line with everything we do, and you're really, really inspiring.
Yeah.
Like, you're very business minded, and which is amazing. And your like thought process is exactly the same as ours.
Do you remember once
like,
I said to you, like,
with the children
who's
and
listening and stuff, and you were like, no, I listen to every podcast, it resonates with me. I was like, wow, there are people out there that we are really.
Trust me, I'm a loyal listener. But you know what? I think it all comes down to you remember who kind of was there for you. Like, genuinely, the people that used to like my posts when I first started my Instagram over 6 years ago still like them now. And I think it goes to say something, is that if you've got someone that has seen your journey and will stick with it, I think that's, although it's free, they're just things that money can't buy. Like, it's priceless.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've been amazing.
I know.
Thank you, and I've had so much fun.
I love how aligned we all are, and I'd love to meet up with you for a coffee.
You're gonna come.
Yeah, we'll get that in. Me and Paisley, literally, how long have we been saying that we're going to go for a coffee and then never get round to it?
Join you.
But you're near us now, aren't you? Are you Orpington?
Orpington, yeah.
Yeah. So we're Tatsfield at the minute. So
yeah,
not far.
Yeah, not too far at all. We'll have to meet up.
No
kids though, so we can talk properly.
Yeah, that's it.
Baby's welcome. Baby's welcome, of course.
Baby's welcome. I'm like, right, sleep now.
Baby's ready for another feed now. You've been an hour.
I know, time gone. That was my freedom for an hour.
Thank you. Honestly, it's been so eye-opening. And I definitely want to talk to you, obviously, because we know what we're doing, but it's just that packaging it up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Positioning your offer and obviously how we're selling and stuff.
Yeah,
really
we
good.
can't wait.
Right, we'll have a lovely day.
Yeah,
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Guys, have a nice weekend.
If you're loving the show, don't forget to download our latest episodes. It helps us a ton by boosting the show and making sure more people find us.
Plus, you can listen anytime, anywhere, even offline.
And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Spotify so you never miss a new drop.
Want even more behind the scenes content? Follow us on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok at Burnt Out Mummas, one word, for exclusive clips, updates and fun extras.
Hit that follow button, send us a message, and let's keep the Burnt Out Mummas community going.